Here we go. Okay, it's going. So, you're from Wisconsin.
I am from Wisconsin. I'm from Milwaukee,
Milwaukee.
which is only 90 miles from Madison, where I spent a good deal of time from February until our recall elections.
What did you do there?
Protest, occupied the Capitol, walked around the square, made signs, talked to people, talked to the police, just came out in numbers to show how upset people were. I mean, it was amazing. We had, so many people there that no one could believe it, and it wasn't organized by anyone. People just showed up.
So that's kind of like the occupation protests that are happening now.
Yeah, except even less organized. I mean, this one is a lot more organized than, that a website and people, announcements. People just got upset with what happened, and they just showed up. It was really amazing.
So
That's part of why I'm here.
what did you learn with that kind of occupation protest that makes you want to do this one here?
Well, I've done these before. I go back to the 60s, so, I've had experience doing a lot of sit-ins and doing a lot of marches and that sort of thing, all the way through, the Equal Rights Amendment, you name it, up until present day. And it's interesting. A young man that I work with came in my office the other day to ask me, why do I think protests work, or do they work? He was feeling pretty uncomfortable. He's 25 years old, and he's very disgusted and unhappy and very hopeless about the future, and just cannot understand what's going on in Washington, and doesn't feel like there's much for people his age, and unless you're in the upper echelons. So we talked about that for a long time, and it takes time. For any kind of protest movement, it takes time. You have to get notice, and the mainstream media are doing a really good job of ignoring us, all of us, all over, everywhere. And until things start happening that they can't ignore anymore, well, the 700 people arrested on the Brooklyn Bridge gets noticed, that sort of thing. So you just chip away a little bit at a time. What we saw happen in Wisconsin was 8 recall elections, of which we won 5. Everyone says we're 1 vote short of, taking back the Senate, but there's a guy in there who's Republican in name only. He's in a very blue-collar district, so he can't vote with them. So he's kind of the swing vote. So from what I see, from my perspective, we have taken the Senate because they can't pass anything anymore without us. So that was inspiring, that having that achieved and having accomplished that. And it was a lot of hard work for a long time. But now everybody's excited about the Walker recall, the governor recall. We'll get started on that next month.
Next month. So, okay, an occupation protest. People who may be coming down here or to Wall Street or to their local communities where these things are popping up, what should they expect with an occupation protest that's different from, say, an afternoon march?
Well, you're in for the long haul, and if you go into it, and I think a lot of people do who have no experience with it, go into it with sort of a naive attitude and think it's kind of a fun event, a party. It's very serious work, and you have to be prepared to pay the price of whatever you're doing. I mean, I believe in civil disobedience. When things are wrong, you have to stand up and do something, but you also have to pay the consequences, and people should be prepared to do that.
What sort of consequences? What sort of price are you talking about?
Getting the crap beat out of you by the police, or pepper sprayed, or all this sort of thing, because you're disturbing the status quo. You're upsetting people. And that's the point, is to make people uncomfortable. Uncomfortable enough that they have to put pressure on our leaders to do something right for a change.
So you've been in protest a long time. You're not as young as you look. And
Yeah, okay, here's $10.
Okay, but seriously, you've been at this for a long time, but you're talking about experiences like that are tough. We're getting beat up and stuff like that.